Hey doing everyone, here we are, video 2. I've got the wide angle lens this time. Apparently the feedback last time was that it was too vertical and close, so we'll see how number 2 goes. This is YouTube, so I guess it's customary to do a like and subscribe if you like the content being produced here. I ask you to bear with me, this is only my second time ever recording myself, still working out the bugs. So video 2, and while I think there are many topics to talk about that are maybe more important than the one I want to talk about today, it's been on my mind a lot, so I thought while it's fresh, let's talk about it. So I've got a couple of notes here, but they're really honestly they're not comprehensive, so I'm just going to wing it. So the thing we want to talk about is consistency. Now, the notes I do have here are two things you want to think about when thinking about consistency, particularly, and I've got some new people training with me the last week, so I think this is mostly for them, but my long-termers can start to think about these things too. And it's progress, not perfection. I've noticed that on my own fat loss journey that this has been a hugely helpful motto. And don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Now, we see so much diet and nutrition advice that is just all about it's a promotion, so it's supposed to sell itself as the best thing. So it is selling perfection. It's selling if you do ketogenic, you'll lose this. If you're low carb, you blah, blah. If you eat carbs before bed, if you go on my diet, blood type diets, alkaline diets, all these kind of things. And I can understand that it gets hard for the lay person and indeed the trained person to understand what is actually scientifically rigorous, what will get results. So new trainers in particular, or new clients, come to me and they're just they're so overwhelmed with the knowledge that they have and the information that they have that they feel like it can almost be overwhelming in that joining a gym, starting a diet and training regime can be well, if I'm going to fucking blow out, I'm going to blow out. So it gets to the weekend and it's parties and it's drinks. Well, then screw it. I'm going to get Macca's and I'm going to get XYZ because I haven't done my keto, I haven't done my intermittent fasting or whatever for the day. But that is, you've seen the memes, that's like when you get a flat tire, that's like puncturing your other 3 tires, right? So that's where I believe consistency at its most purest takes place. Now I'll talk about the 2 areas, gym and diet, where these things really we can talk about it. But thinking about consistency in those terms doesn't just have to mean about being regimented with your diet and training, although it should. It's just about cutting yourself some slack and going let's have a range of things. So let's go, let's maybe tackle this gym first, diet second. I know I've sort of touched on diet already, but let's think about gym. So a lot of trainees and a lot of people, I've just done some weekly check-ins and I'll do some more and just getting some of the feedback from some of you. And it's a little bit I'm so down on myself. I only got to the gym once this week, or XYZ with diet. And I'm sort of just come on, dude. You've got a plan or some kind of idea of where we want to be. And so you have the plan. And then you also have the fact that this is a lifestyle change too. And for many of my clients, those I'm talking to now, and I guess whoever's viewing, it is about a lifestyle change. And I've been paying a lot more attention to sort of the anti-diet dietitians and stuff like that who have been talking, and even Eric Helms is talking about intuitive eating and these kind of things that are not say numbers-based and more feeling-based. And although intuitive eating isn't necessarily non-numbers based necessarily, but it's about that idea of just being what kind of foods do we want to eat, how often do we want to eat them, when do we stop eating them, and those kind of things. So getting back to my original point, so when it comes to the gym, we want to just make sure that missing sessions, it's not a huge deal. It is a lifestyle change. And as long as you're and that's what I do. And in my initial consult, I'm how many times a week can you definitely train? And new people are always 5-6 times a week. And it's how many days can you get on your bad week? And that's the thing with consistency. Pick a range, 3 to 5 times a week. And if you get in 1 week, one time a week, fine. But you get in 4 times a week the next week, that's great. And then you get in 3, then you get in 2, then you get in 6, then you get in 4. That's the sort of consistency which doesn't appear on its face as consistency that I'm talking about. When it comes to the gym, train hard when you can, back off when you can. Like, I mean, that's really what it is. It's like, it's not necessarily scientific, it's sort of auto-regulatory. Don't beat yourself up if you've only gotten into the gym once. Don't beat yourself up if you're overtraining. Just work with the situation that presents itself. That's consistency. That is consistent. That will keep you focused. And it's okay to cut yourself some slack sometimes and say, no, I can't train. I've got like whatever, like women, periods, men, stress, women, stress, kids, whatever. Like if you've got something that's a legitimate reason to keep you from the gym, don't beat yourself up about it. Go for a walk, do some activity, something else. Park your car further away. But get into the gym when you can and don't when you can't. And just make sure if you're tracking or if you have a trainer who's tracking it, they'll keep you consistent. They'll be like, you know, like a maestro, bring this up and bring that up and bring that down and all this. And you're pulling the strings from the background and that's how you get results. Particularly for lifestyle clients. If you're a bodybuilding competitor or a powerlifter or whatever, that's different. We're not talking to those people necessarily. I know this is a little bit all over the place. I'm sort of just, you know, word vomiting you right now. So diet. Getting back to sort of what I was talking about. So as this is a lifestyle change, dietary changes, I mean, you would be surprised how little you actually need to do in terms of diet to get a result. The thing I focus on, protein and calories. And if you wanted to be specific, it's just calories. And that really just means that as long as you're not overeating consistently, it's consistency again, you will lose weight or gain weight, whatever your goal is. Like if we have a weekly target of an X deficit per day or whatever, we can have that vary. We can have a day where we're way under and a day where we're way over, but as long as that line through the middle is roughly where we want it to be, and even then, you remember, like we might set a 500 calorie deficit in our first session, but that means that you're in a 500 calorie deficit. You can have a 300 calorie deficit for that week over 7 days and still be fat loss, you know? So it's like, don't necessarily like get fixated on the numbers that I need to train 3 times a week. I need to have a 500 calorie deficit, but do make sure on average, these numbers are roughly, and that's roughly being variable, getting hit. And that's the point, that's what I believe true consistency to be. And maybe the point finally emerges. True consistency is working on your goals and not giving up on them over a period of time. Like 8-week, and I know I mention this all the time because we are like 8-week challenges sell packages, they sell PT, they make money, they get results. Like I'm not going to say they don't, they do, but that's the ketogenic version of exercise. People walk in and they're like, I have to do something drastic, both training and diet. And it's like, you can do something drastic, but you don't need to. You just need, like, I am the laziest person in the world, and I'm always just like, be lazy like me, like do the bare minimum and you will get results. More than the people who do 8 weeks and then drop off. The person who's still in the gym and still working on their healthy lifestyle is the one who's going to change their physique and stuff over time. I've trained people for many years and I've seen fluctuations and like, I've seen where they've tried to be hard and then tried to back off and all those kind of things and, try to go hard and then failing and then punishing themselves for it. And a few of you are probably thinking I'm speaking to you right now. Consistency, true consistency. Set a plan with a range. Maybe that's a better way to put it as well. Have a range, I want 2 to 4 sessions a week. I want a 300 to 500 calorie deficit. I want to lose something per week. I want to lose 100 grams. Next week you'll lose 500. The following week you'll put on half a kilo. The following week you're down 700 grams. You track some of this data and you start to see how it goes. So I guess the measures of consistency, and I'll finish up now because we're about at 10 minutes, is that true consistency is about cutting yourself some slack, having guidelines vis-a-vis a plan, and then being flexible on that plan, but also being honest with yourself. If you're only getting in 1 week because you're skipping the gym because you can't be fucked, again, there is some leeway for that. But if you're doing it so much that you're never getting in the gym, if you're so meh about your diet, and like diet that you're not sticking to it, then that does need to be addressed. But if you're punishing yourself for not getting into the gym, if you're punishing yourself for missing a diet, like everybody goes out drinking on the weekends, particularly new clients. Like they're the people who need the most amount of this message, because they're the people who are like, oh my God, I have to give up all the things that I like. And it's just like, I certainly wouldn't be saying that necessarily. The flexible dieting style approaches mean that you can have some of those things, maybe not in the quantities that you had them before, but you can have them. You just have to sort of be a little smarter, think a little bit about it. If you're going to go out drinking all night long, maybe you have a few protein meals during the day and then a sort of a heavier carb and protein meal before you go out drinking. You keep things like bacon and eggs or steak or whatever like dirty or, fatty foods you like when you're hungover and drinking, those kind of things. That's consistency. That's how you maintain consistency with a diet. Training sessions can be fun, those kind of things. I know this has been a little bit meandering. I've tried to come up with notes all week, but I sort of have just had this stewing in my brain. If there's anything that I've missed, if there's anything that you think I've missed or anything that you want to offer, I'll share this to my private group. Friends of mine will see it and stuff. So if there's anything that you guys think that I've missed or that you think you could add, feel free to share it. Feel free to comment. Feel free to talk to me in person. It all makes me and us better. Have a great week, kids, and be consistent.